All right, it's that time of year. Let's talk taxes. Now, stick with me here. I'm going to save you some money. I know taxes are something that people don't like to think about until they absolutely have to. So today, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can write off business expenses from your taxes, especially if you're self-employed, you're an independent contractor, or you have a side hustle. You're not going to want to miss this. So you heard right. Maximizing your deductions can actually minimize your tax bill. So every year around springtime, people find themselves sort of struggling and hustling to add everything up that maybe they've spent throughout the year, especially for a small business, and then seeing what their tax deductions might be. Now, a smarter way to do that is through bookkeeping. Now, specifically, that means keeping your financial records accurate month after month, quarter after quarter. Now, of course, that's easier said than done. So I'll leave a link down below to Bench Accounting. They have been great to me over the years for resources on everything from taxes to PPP loans. Now, in addition to using a bookkeeping software, I think it's a very good idea to take a look at how much you've spent throughout the year and know what you can actually write off as a business expense. So I'm going to break down for you some of the most profitable and popular business expenses that, yes, you can write off. But real quick, don't forget to give this video a like. It really helps, so thanks. Okay, number one, the first business expense you should look into writing off and keep track of throughout the year is advertising and promotions. What's so significant about this expense is that it is 100% deductible. For example, throughout this past year, I have hired people to do logo designs for me. I even had the idea to maybe come up with some merch. Yes, you can buy the Teacher Entrepreneur hoodie on Amazon. But in spending money towards that design, I can write that off 100% as a business expense. So just try to think back if you've hired someone to design a logo for you or make some online or print brochures or ads to run. All of that is 100% deductible. Likewise, if you've started a website. This past year, my YouTube channel exploded and I decided that I needed a place to sort of catalog and send people to in addition to just watching a video. Let's be real, some people like to read stuff and maybe go back to it as a reference. I know I sure do. So as you can see here, I have a website. And I had somebody build that for me. I have to pay for web hosting. There's a little bit of like SEO and marketing involved as well. And so all of that is 100% deductible. Number two is meals. Now stay with me here because the rules recently changed. But for 2020, business meals are 50% deductible. Now, in the future, these are going to actually be 100% deductible. They sort of used to be, and then they weren't, and now they're going to be. But the best thing to do is if you find yourself buying a meal for a business meeting, you need to just keep track of the receipt. You're going to want to write down who you spoke with and what business ideas or topics came up. Again, if you have a software where you can maybe just take a picture of the receipt and make a little note, of course, that could be helpful. I have some links down below to various resources, so you can check those out. Now, a couple things to keep in mind is that you do have to be there for the meeting itself, like you as the owner of your business. But one of the more interesting things is, let's say you're doing something because of the shutdown, like takeout DoorDash. For example, if you were meeting someone at a park and you picked up some food along the way and you guys had like an outdoor business meeting meal. These things are going to count. You just have to keep track of them. And then you know that you can write them off at 50% for 2020. And just keep in mind that for the foreseeable future, the next year or two, these are actually going to be 100% deductible. Now, the next two are huge, especially because of the way the economy has been working. People have been stuck at home doing business from their house, maybe before they were used to going into an office. So we're going to cover right now your car and if you can deduct a home office. Use of your car, if it is 100% for business purposes, is 100% deductible as a business expense. I live right across the street from someone who owns his own tree trimming and lumberjack services. So he has a truck that has a logo on it. It is always just parked right outside the house when he's not in business, and a vehicle like that could be 100% written off as a business expense. Now, of course, most of us might have a vehicle that we use for a little bit of business and a little bit of personal, so there is going to be a way to calculate that. The first way is just known as the standard mileage rate. This year they give you a certain amount of money. It's about 57.5 cents per mile you travel for business, and that covers all of your vehicle's expenses. You don't have to itemize each single one. However, if you are an Uber driver, DoorDash driver, Lyft driver, you may end up actually wanting to itemize, and we're talking about gas, oil, tires, repairs. All of those things, if you want to itemize and list them out, can be deductible, and that may be more so in your favor. Real quick, one last thing to mention about use of vehicles. You can't actually write off just commuting to and from work. So if you have been going in, that use of your personal vehicle to get to work doesn't count. I know some people wish it would, especially if you have that long commute, but it doesn't. Now let's talk home office. With so many people working from home now, it's probably on many people's mind, can I write off this new dedicated space where basically I do all my work? Well, the answer may be yes, but for some people it might be no. There are two requirements that you have to meet in order to take a deduction for having a home office. The first condition is known as regular and exclusive use. This means that you have a dedicated area and space that is used for business and it's not used for anything else. So, for example, this portion of our garage here that's connected to our home is exclusively for this YouTube studio. However, I'm going to need to also take into account that we do have some fitness equipment that you can't see right off camera, and I won't include this entire area as my home office. It would just be a portion. Same thing would apply to you if you only work from, let's say, a kitchen table as opposed to a dedicated space and room, then you would not be able to count that. Now, this other key factor is going to eliminate a lot of people, and it's known as the principal place of business. This means that you conduct the majority of your business from home. Now, this gets a little complicated to explain because if you are an employee somewhere else and you just work from home, then you're not able to claim this home office deduction. This is for the self-employed, the independent contractors, the sole proprietors who do business primarily out of their home. So if you think you meet those two conditions, that regular and exclusive use and the principal place of business, then you can take a $5 per square foot deduction for your home office use. However, there is another way where you could track it that I don't really want to get into because you have to essentially prorate everything like mortgage interest or rent and electricity use, and it just gets a little complicated. If you want to go down that path, they call it the standard deduction, but essentially you're keeping track of a lot more items and then you are dividing all that by the prorated amount of square feet that you actually use for your home office. Just something to keep in mind. For some people, you're going to, like the car, want to itemize, and for other people, you just want to kind of take that deduction and move on to the next item. A couple other popular items, especially to my budding entrepreneurs out there. Maybe you're a sole proprietor and you're thinking about getting an LLC. Well, legal and professional services, like if you pay for bookkeeping, if you pay for a lawyer, if you have somebody do your taxes, and this is for your business, well, yes, you can actually claim those as a business expense, and those can be deducted from your taxes. A few key takeaways to maximize your deductions to minimize that tax bill. Many of us get started in a small business to work for ourselves, to feel a sense of freedom, to make the life that we want to have. But we realize that there's a cost to that. It's that old saying, it takes money to make money. So I just encourage you to begin to keep track of these expenses. The ones that I've mentioned don't even cover everything. They're just some of the more popular ones that can save you a lot. Along those same lines too, if you can keep track throughout the year, towards the end of the calendar year, it might be a good idea to make that larger purchase or go ahead and buy that piece of equipment, because you know that if you don't, you're just going to owe more in taxes. Remember, don't forget to check out my website. It is full of resources and podcasts, and I'll keep sharing the knowledge there, so check it out. Also, don't forget to like this video, and if you are new to the channel, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.